So the process of energy generation, it is not exclusive for the glucose, because glucose, as we know, yes, it undergo the process of glycolysis producing pyruvic acid or pyruvate, which then by the help of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex actually gets converted to acetyl CoA, and finally this acetyl CoA entered the process of citric acid cycle, where the which produces all the necessary, all the components ultimately, which lead to production of ATP via the electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. Now that all process means this all energy generation process, it is actually dependent on the production of this molecule, the acetyl CoA. And acetyl CoA, it comes from the metabolism of glucose via this all different steps. Now actually that is not the only way of production of acetyl CoA. Fatty acid and amino acid, means on the other term, the proteins and the fat, both the material are also a source of acetyl CoA. They have their own metabolic processes by which ultimately we end up with a large amount of acetyl CoA or any other molecule in between, which lead to ultimately this trigger of this citric acid cycle. And finally we also, the process of the electron transport system also takes place, and we do get the oxidative phosphorylation, uh, which produces this a large amount of ATP. So let's learn about all those different sources. So first and foremost, about the protein. The protein, if we know that our body protein is like our body comprises of a large amount of protein, definitely. So in case of the total amount of protein that is present in the body, available protein that is present in our body, 25% actually comes from the dietary source, and 75% comes from the body source. Okay, means actually continuously in our body the cells are, means dead cells are being produced, and those dead cells are being processed or destroyed in our body continuously. Even there are other varieties of proteins also that are formed, which are of no use. If there is no use of those protein, then those protein will be actually broken down to obtain the large amount of amino acid, because after all the protein is made up of amino acid. So we are going to gain this large amount of amino acid via that destruction of those protein. Even a large amount of the dietary proteins, all the dietary protein also is transformed into the amino acid. So this makes up the total amino acid pool. But the amino acid pool is not going to be utilized for metabolism, but rather this amino acid pool will be utilized for making the body proteins, means the necessary protein of our body. That is definitely the positive source for like making our own body protein, isn't it? So amino acid will be utilized for that method majority. But money, like many of the material, many of those amino acid will also enter into its metabolic process, where it needs to be filtered out, it needs to be cleaved out from the body, removed from the body. For that we are going to have this transamination step going on, and the transamination step is going to produce a large amount of alpha keto acid, which will end up becoming the alpha ketoglutarate. And alpha ketoglutarate molecule is one of the component of the citric acid cycle, which is the main energy generation cycle, as you have seen before. So this alpha ketoglutarate become like it that is formed here, it actually becomes a part of that system, and then we are going to get energy generated out of it. Plus the amine group that is being produced at that moment is going to be utilized by the urea cycle, and we are going to be left with the urea formation, which is going to be removed from the body. That means entire metabolism of the protein is actually leading producing this alpha ketoglutarate, as we know. But actually that's not it. There are two more methods that are there. One, actually for that we have to understand that the amino acids that we normally have in our body, or the one we consume, the total amino acid, they are of two varieties. One is called the glucogenic, another one is called the ketogenic. The glucogenic, which are actually marked as the yellow, the one which are kept in the yellow boxes, they are I'm sorry, the one which are kept in the blue boxes are actually the one which can convert into either pyruvic acid or any of the molecule of this Krebs cycle. So those material, they are all known as the glucogenic type of material. Let me tell you something. This glucogenic type of amino acid has got the property to be to get converted into some something of this like glucose also, means they can actually transform into glucose also. As you can see the pathway shown here, that it is forming pyruvic acid, then from that oxaloacetic acid, from there phosphoenol pyruvate, and finally glucose is from this form. If you remember, this process is known as gluconeogenesis, formation of glucose from any other alternative source. So this amino acid, this list of amino acid that are being shown here, they are capable of getting transformed into the glucose. That is one way. Or you can say it like this, that this material that are being formed, this material can now be part of the Krebs cycle, and from there we can get energy or generated from this, isn't it? So that method is possible. Both these processes are possible. On the other hand, we are going to see that the ketogenic type of proteins, means the ketogenic type of or amino acids, they are going to form the molecule which is called the acetyl CoA directly, because in this cases we are going to have to like bring this pyruvic acid, we have to form the pyruvic acid, and from the pyruvic acid the acetyl CoA molecule will be generated for like this case. And for this other set, we can actually say that yeah, it becomes a part of the Krebs cycle itself. So either processes can actually give us, ultimately is going to give us the necessary amount of material which will trigger the Krebs cycle, or which will trigger the electron transport chain, which will ultimately lead to the formation of the ATP, generation of ATP. So that is possible, and this is the way. These are actually different types of enzyme responsible. These actually different types of sources that are possible for it. There are metabolic processes that are present. There are that are actually there in our body. Now, definitely we are not going to learn about each and every one of those steps, because they are quite elaborative and quite long and quite difficult to remember also. But this is like a generalized idea for you. Now this is all about the protein, isn't it? Now it's also true about the case of fat also. Fat undergo this single step. This process is known as beta oxidation. It is the metabolism of the fat. What we are going to find, the fatty acids are going to get converted to fatty acyl CoA. Simple, it's like converted to fatty acyl CoA, which is going to get converted to trans-enoyl CoA, to hydroxyacetyl CoA, then ketoacyl CoA, finally forming the smaller fatty acyl CoA. Let's just see, it's written here shortened by 2 carbons. Why? Because those 2 carbons that are short is actually this acetyl CoA that is formed right here. Means every single cycle is actually cleaving this front part. This front part is nothing but the acetyl CoA, because you can see this coenzyme A is bound here. So it is acetyl CoA right there. By final treatment of like beta oxidation treatment, we actually get this completely, this acetyl CoA being released, and another fatty acyl CoA is getting ready. Means beta oxidation is kind of like a cyclic process. It continuously keeps on going, because fatty acids are not short. Fatty acids can be 16, 18, 22 to 23, like many chain like carbon long, isn't it? So every single cycle will leave us with 2 carbon unit short, okay, or cleaving of 2 carbon unit, because those 2 carbon unit are actually the acetyl CoA. That means one cycle is going to produce 1 acetyl CoA. That way the entire process will continue until only 2 carbon unit is left, which is nothing but the acetyl CoA itself. So that way, this is the method of by which the fatty acid is being chopped down, or is being like utilized in our smooth endoplasmic reticulum mostly, and we are end up with this large amount of acetyl CoA coming out of it. Now if acetyl CoA is being formed, acetyl CoA will now enter mitochondria and be a part of the Krebs cycle process, ultimately leading to formation of energy. And that is what we are going to see here, that all these different source of material, they are actually ultimately producing the acetyl CoA by any way, by any means, and that acetyl CoA is now going to enter this particular Krebs cycle process, and we are going to get like electron transport chain can be triggered, because electron is definitely going to be produced in all of these different processes. And so we are going to be like seeing this electron transport chain being triggered right there, finally leading to production of large amount of ATP. That is the way of generation of energy in our body, inside the cells, inside every single cell. Is actually not only for our body, it's for plant, for every single animal. Because keep in mind, again I will emphasize that the process of respiration is common for every single organism. It is not like for the plants only that this thing happen. It happens for every single type of living organism. So that will be the process of generation of energy.